After shopping a few dealers online, a bit of back and forth, and a ton of patience, a friend of mine was able to score about 8.5% off the MSRP in total off of a brand new Acura MDX. And although he was quoted a pretty aggressive lease payment, he ended up choosing to buy the car brand new, financing it at 16 months, and said that he'd consider either keeping it or trading up 4 years from now before the car is fully paid off and the warranty expires. Why? Because not only does it have a pretty decent residual value around 48% after 5 years, the total overall cost actually came out to way less than leasing it. Now, sales of the Acura MDX are currently down. However, that's not just an Acura thing. The whole segment is suffering from a decline in demand. Now, most 2024s are gone, but that doesn't mean a great deal isn't likely. Acura dealers are competing with a very competitive segment with the rivals like Infiniti, Lexus, BMW, and Mercedes. And we all know the year-end sales events produce crazy hot deals. What I want to do for you in this video is explain how to make negotiating the Acura MDX way easier. We'll go over real-time sales and inventory data, the discount I would target off MSRP, current incentives and financing offers, purchase and lease payment estimates, resale value, and lastly, we'll pull this all together so I can tell you as a car guy what I would do personally. All the supplemental data I'm going to go over in this video, as well as access to dealer pricing, is going to be available for you by clicking here or the links in the description below. Are you ready? Let's go. Acura is facing a notable decline in sales this year, falling well short of its typical annual performance. While the brand usually sells around 60,000 units in a standard year, this year is proving to be a very difficult one, with Acura expected to end the year selling only between 45 and 50,000 units. This represents a significant drop from the 58,000 units sold in the previous year. As of now, Acura has sold roughly 36,000 units, underscoring the very struggle they're experiencing in the current market. However, Acura isn't alone in facing a drop in sales, as competitors such as BMW and Lexus are also reporting lower sales this year. For context, while Acura's MDX has sold 36,600 units, Lexus's RX has far surpassed this with about 93,800 units sold. Other competitors like the BMW X5, Mercedes GLE, Volvo XC90, Audi Q7, and Infiniti QX60 are also experiencing declines, but most have outperformed Acura in overall sales this year. Not so much over at Infiniti, but pretty much the rest of the segment. Although sales are down, output has also been matched to keep supply and demand steady. And this is very clear because Acura MDX inventory is primarily 2025 inventory. You won't really see any 2024 sitting on the lots because Acura has managed to put them all on the road. It seems like Acura is in a good place because they've got more than the average supply with about 6,800 units in stock. The segment's average is around 5,500 units, and this is important because it highlights that demand on Acura MDXs is definitely lower than its competitors. Now, Acura has about 5,500 all-wheel drive models in stock and 1,400 front-wheel drives, and the top 3 trims in stock are the front-wheel drive with tech package with around 1,100 units, the SH all-wheel drive A-Spec with about 1,400 units, and the SH all-wheel drive with tech pack with about 1,600 units. For me, it makes the most sense to shoot for the all-wheel drive tech package. However, because I love the A-Spec, that's what we're going to focus on tonight. Now, the example vehicle that I've got picked out is an A-Spec. I have an A-Spec picked out that has an MSRP of about $64,150. And to me, that's kind of pricey, especially because X5s and GLEs are about $10,000 more, if not a little less. And I don't mean starting at $10,000 more. I mean like an X5 M Sport. I want you to target a pretty hefty discount. However, percentage-wise, this isn't really all that hefty over at BMW or Mercedes. A hefty discount off of an MDX, go for around 6 to 8% off of MSRP. So right now here, say about 7% off. Getting 7% off gets us to a target selling price of $59,659. At the moment, Acura is running a couple different quick incentives that I think will make most of you pretty happy. They're doing 4.9% promotional financing at 60 months. Also, they're running $1,000 in loyalty credit, as well as $1,000 in conquest credit, which basically, if you've got one of their competitors, which you probably do, you can score about $1,000 off in rebates. This is available for purchase or lease customers. This gets us down to an adjusted target of $58,659. Now, let's do a little bit of math here. Financing this $58,659 for 5 years at 4.9%, assuming nothing down except you paying your taxes, registration, and dealer fees at start. This gets us down to an estimated payment of $1,120 a month for 60 months. Again, though, this isn't including taxes and fees. So, for example, in Massachusetts, this would be roughly about $4,000 due at start. The total cost of this whole loan is going to be about $70,998, with interest being paid being about $7,700. Now, let's see what that leaves us with here. The 5-year resale value, according to iccars.com, is about 48%, or in this case, about $30,312. And that was actually pretty consistent with the typical listings I was seeing on Car Gurus for a 5-year-old MDX with less than 70,000 miles. However, there's a major issue with these figures that I'm going to explain at the very, very end. It's not what it's cracked up to be. Now, lease customers, you may like or may be deflated with what I'm about to say. Let me know in the comments below what exactly happened to you. Now, it's got a 57% residual at 36 months and 12,000 miles a year, which is significantly lower than what they were estimating the residual to be in the past. However, a lower money factor also to make up for it at 0.00137. Acura is doing $1,500 in lease cash, and we're also factoring in that $1,000 conquest cash for a total of $2,500. Plugging this all into the lease calculator, assuming we got 7% off MSRP, assuming we paid our inception fees due at start, and assuming you hit like and subscribe, we'd be talking about $700 a month, and that's not including tax. And actually, if you factor in taxes and fees that you paid upfront on the lease, the effective payment in mass would be about $780. So the finance payment definitely seems to be a bit more attractive long term. In essence, if we make the comparison with leasing the car for a typical 3-year lease versus, say, buying it for 5 years and trading it in, you're actually paying $3,600 extra for the convenience of leasing it if your intention was just to keep it short term. If your intention is to keep it long term, buying out the lease at the end is ultra senseless. Just buy it and trade it in 5 years or 4 years even, if your intention is to keep it short term but not lease it for 3 years. Now, what would I do personally? Listen, guys, Acura is a hell of a car, and the MDX, according to a few different channels, has major resale potential at the very end. This was even confirmed by Car Guru's listings showing the car is selling for around $30K. However, there's a big problem, like I said, with these numbers. Although resale is around $30,000, no dealer will give you that figure because they're going to be hoping to sell at that figure. In my experience, they'll usually give you about 20% less than the resale value to account for their reconditioning costs and profit margins. The resale will likely be around $24,000. The thing is, though, if you're buying this car, buy it and hold it, because getting rid of it at the 5-year mark defeats the purpose of not leasing it, because it's pretty obvious if you get rid of it at year 5, you'll probably lose more money on the trade-in value realistically. Now, the Acura MDX for me is a car you buy and hold for at least 5 to 7 years. If you're thinking to keep it shorter than that, I'd probably advise you to just lease it instead. As a reminder, you guys, all the data that I've mentioned, as well as access to dealer pricing and my cheat sheet, is available for you by clicking here or the links in the description below. If you'd like to book a quick call with me to discuss your situation, my schedule is in the description box below as well. If you found this information useful, please consider subscribing. Thank you so much for watching, guys. We'll see you next time.